Please welcome to the stage the dedicated and visionary leader of our great city, Mayor Lisa Borowsky. Under her leadership, Scottsdale continues to thrive, grow, and inspire. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she speaks with us today.
Hop up, say hi to your crowd.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor Borowsky. And if you'd like to have a seat, we're going to do things a little different this year. The mayor and I were talking with her team and looking at what might be a good way to introduce her first State of the City. So we're going to have a fireside chat, if you will, but we don't need a fire because we've got this incredible weather. So we're loving that. Mayor, thank you. Please have a seat.
Thank you. Am I live? Yes.
Yeah, I think you are.
All right.
First, I want to tell you that I got my hair cut for this, so I'm feeling like I kind of went above and beyond, but it was important. And also, I want to say how great it is that you've brought your family, and I see your mom and dad here, so big hand for Mayor Borowsky's folks. There they are.
Take a bow.
And then also, I want to thank you and your team for putting together that video. That was, we appreciate that. I know your team really did a great job. Thank you for bringing that for us. And thank you for showcasing really what is amazing about our city, what's amazing about the attributes that bring the quality of life. And I think that video showed it. So thank you for bringing that.
Well, we could have used an hour or two to showcase everything that's amazing about Scottsdale and all the amazing people in this room and outside of this room. So
well, we're
glad
thrilled.
It worked out.
Thank you for being here, and thank you to your team. You know, you've only been in the office for about a month and a half, so it's been a whirlwind, a lot of activities. Can you give us kind of a snapshot of what sort of your biggest surprise or aha, and kind of where you are in your mind going forward as the council and you begin to work together?
Well, it's been 44 days, but who's counting? It's been a wild ride so far. It's been exciting. One big, huge surprise. I knew I loved being on city council, but I love the job so much. I mean, it's been really fantastic. Getting together with so many residents, so many business leaders. It's just such an amazing place to be and do business. And that's been a huge plus. It's been very, very busy. I would say one of the big surprises is I was hoping for a honeymoon. I want my honeymoon phase. But baptism by fire, we came out of the gate very, very, would say strong. And we've got ourselves lots of headlines, so didn't expect that in the first month. You know, some good, some very controversial, and so hopefully we're going to move into a little cadence that looks forward and is all about collaboration and coming together as a community so that we can, you know, do our best work, do great things. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. No kidding, you guys came out of the gate strong. You got a lot of work in front of you. We appreciate the dedication. As you begin to look at the priorities, I know you had come through and had a lot of thoughts in the campaign. What are you working on your priorities? What's in front of you right now? What are the really the top elements that you're working for, you and the council?
So there's been a lot of work done already and a lot of work to do. So I handed out this 4x4 card during the campaign, and it was just a little square, and it had the bullet points of what I wanted to accomplish on the back, and I still carry that around with me because it is my guiding, my Bible, if you will, for what I want to accomplish over the next 4 years and potentially, you know, ideally the next 12 years. Which includes a 20-year strategic plan, looking even further. And I'm very proud that we've already reestablished the Citizens Budget Commission. So that was a very big deal for me. When I served with Jim Lane, we spearheaded the Citizens Budget Commission at the time because we were all on the council mostly focused on how do we protect and save really taxpayer dollars and spend it the most wisely that we can. And the Citizens Budget Commission was very successful in doing that. I think we cut the budget at that time by about 15%, which is amazing, right? And that was in their first year of work for the city. And so bringing that back I'm very, very proud of this. It was a big goal for me. I think it's a big accomplishment for us on the council and for our citizens and business owners. So I'm looking forward to their fine work. It's chaired by David Smith, who I'm sure is here, and a very, very big fan of his work and him as a person, of course. And I'm challenging them to get in there, dig in, and ideally they'll come up with savings that represent at least 5%. David, if you're listening. So that's a big, big deal. Other big initiatives, so wildfire, the tragedy in LA reminds us that here in Scottsdale, we've got big exposure in North Scottsdale. And coming from, the equestrian background that I do, we have horses. I have horses that live in North Scottsdale. And it really not oddly, keeps me awake, because when you go up there and you see just the brush and the fuel that is all around the area, North Scottsdale, all around the preserve, our biggest asset in Scottsdale besides our community, I worry about it. So, I've developed this plan, and with the full support of the fire department, city management, and ideally the council, we're going to move forward with establishing the Scottsdale Volunteer Fire Brigade that's going to be patterned much like the Sheriff's Posse. And so all of you that always wanted to be a fireman or a firewoman, you're going to have the opportunity, and I think it's going to be a big addition to protecting and really mitigating our fire dangers. So that's a big issue for me. One of the bigger things that I talked about during the campaign is high quality development, and already that's been a big focus for me. We're working on a downtown plan for a garage. I'm sure you've all heard. I was not in favor of it, and with any luck, it'll come out and turn out to be the best that it passed nonetheless. And it passed in the prior administration, I should add. But I'd love to see Old Town and Downtown revitalized and improved, protecting and preserving our historic roots there, and make it so that we are one of the best downtowns in the entire nation. So this is a big push for me, and I'm looking forward and very excited to getting started on that challenge.
Outstanding. One of the big questions in this audience is the economy. Looking forward, seeing what we can do to build up the business community. And obviously, you've been very business friendly and looking at encouraging business. What can you tell the audience a little bit about your vision of business and how business can be an asset, and how this community can help work with the city?
So I believe the best thing that city government can do for business is really get out of the way and make it easier and more friendly to do business in Scottsdale. And I'll start with developers that come into our community, whether it's a remodel or whether you're trying to build something, on a pre-approved lot. I've already really been involved with the assistant city manager, who's right here, acting city manager, now, who's been really great about how do we really make some changes right out of the gate. So I would say the planning department is a big area that we hear a lot about, it's difficult to get through the process. So we're already making headway in that regard. I think we keep our community clean, safe, and healthy. And that means low taxes, that means low property taxes, keeping sales tax as low as possible, and just creating an environment that we support you as business leaders and business owners in the community. Also, we've been involved in looking at how does the city hone its skills in the economic development department? Does that look like we establish a little subsect of almost like a sales force to follow up on leads and get new business. And that's been discussed, and ideally the right recipe will be the one that's established, and we will promote it. I am a big fan of tourism. That's not a secret in this room. I think tourism, as long as we keep our eye on the ball of what has made our city the tourism capital of the Southwest, if not, I want to see it as the capital of tourism in the country. And I think we are on the brink of doing that. We are so close to taking over the big cities that everyone talks about. And we're right there with them. So I think as long as we focus on, through a newcomer's eyes to our city, we keep it fresh, we keep it really nice to do business here. People want to live here, people want to move their headquarters here. So that really is the introduction to our city, and I think that cannot be overstated.
Well, congratulations, because tourism's really moving forward, and I know that's a priority, and Experience Scottsdale and her Rachel Sacco's team are fully committed to work towards that vision, and I applaud that. Another point that I was going to ask you that kind of ties into the tourism factor is, on the video you had a good showcase of cultural activities and the arts. Can you give us some thought about the cultural aspect of Scottsdale and the arts?
I'm so glad you asked about that. Another big initiative. First off, let me start by saying this. I think so the bed tax is split between Experience Scottsdale and the city. And I really feel like it's a big opportunity to reevaluate how we're spending the tourism side of the city's tax fund, and investing in big ideas. How do we improve arts and culture and the experience in Scottsdale? And I think one great idea is looking at a performing arts center that accommodates 2,500 to 3,000 people. And it's been talked about for years. I talked about it over the last 4 years. I think that's a real opportunity for us, because there isn't one. There are two, but they're downtown Phoenix and downtown at ASU, of course, Gamage. But I really think that ideas like that can move our city even forward even more to become the world-class destination and experience, more importantly, for those of us that live here, whether it's Scottsdale or throughout the valley. But using the bed tax dollars wisely from the city's perspective and carefully and looking ahead, I think is the key.
Staying on the economy and growth and how we see the future of Scottsdale, a huge economic driver is the Scottsdale Airport and the Scottsdale Air Park. And I know you've got a lot of thought about how that can continue to grow and how we can be supportive of that. Can you give your thoughts about the Air Park and the airport?
Well, it's a huge asset for us, and I'm very proud of the airport. The tragedy that occurred I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. One thing that I learned, and not many people know, is we have a firefighter team and office on site, and it's not required by the FAA, but we do that, and they were on the scene within 60 seconds because they office right there. So that tragedy could have been much greater had they not been present and not been so on top of what is going on. And so I really I just cannot thank them enough for the good work that they do, along with our public safety. The Scottsdale Airport, Air Park, the entire Air Park area is ripe for moving forward and redevelopment and getting a lot of business energy up there. I'm working on an initiative, the mayor's ad hoc advisory or task force to undertake Scottsdale road improvements. I think that's a big issue in the area, so that we have a better path really to and from the Scottsdale Airport and north and south on Scottsdale Road. So keeping it vibrant and imaginative, and of course protecting the Scottsdale Airport, not allowing residential to overtake it. That's a big issue and comes up frequently. So lots of support for that.
So also tied to, you've got the air park and the airport, but we also have a number of remarkable innovation centers throughout Scottsdale. One of them is SkySong, and the great work that is occurring at SkySong. What do you say to some of those innovators that would consider coming to Scottsdale to help build a business or to look at innovation centers?
Our doors are open, and there's plenty of room for new, great businesses to come join us. SkySong's doing incredibly well. That was a big issue back in 2008 when I first got elected, and they've really become very successful. And there's still room to develop and improve and grow in that area. And collaborating with ASU, I think we can't go wrong.
Absolutely. So I hear being a mayor is a big responsibility, and it goes far beyond the borders of your municipality. Tell us about your engagement at the county level and with the state.
Thanks for asking, because that's a big one that I would have probably neglected. So that's a great question. So the state legislature, I know they're all in session, so they're not listening, but they're trying to, through a series of legislative through bills, to take away the city's zoning oversight. And honestly, I have to say, I think that the two items of priority for your city government, for our city government, and as elected officials, is protect our citizenry, protect our city, and zoning, oversee zoning. Those are the two biggest issues. And so the state legislature trying to undercut our ability to manage the way that land use is handled in Scottsdale, I think is a slippery slope. And I think it's not good for our community. Our residents, they're very selective when they come to Scottsdale and invest in residential here. And so I've been down there, to answer your question, lobbying to make sure that they know how serious this is to us. We can't let this happen. And so I would encourage all of you to get in touch with the bill sponsors who want to see 5-acre lots subdivided into 1,500 square feet residential lots. So that, I think, is one of our biggest concerns, where the state legislature is going right now, and doing all we can as a team to oppose that.
Thank you. Kind of staying around that state oversight and county oversight, a lot of folks are talking about water and water conservation, and I know we've got some great stewards of water in the community, SRP and several partners that work with that, and I know that Scottsdale has been particularly thoughtful about how to manage water and to encourage the wise use. So can you give some thoughts on water use and water in Scottsdale?
So we're in the blessed position to have a cutting-edge water recharge facility, and we're way ahead of our time. We are in really good shape in Scottsdale, and we have avenues in, if and when, I guess arguably already, in a drought. So we're in good shape, and we have alternatives when it comes to the recharge use, and also water credits that we've invested in. So we're good, but I think thoughtful growth from here forward, looking forward, this is a big part of a 20-year strategic plan. We need to make sure that our growth is measured, and we're not just approving big industrial that is taxing our infrastructure, especially when it's in the area of water, and also that holds true with massive residential projects. So looking forward, being thoughtful and very, very careful, and really I do think it starts with a 20-year or further strategic plan. So you're not just reacting, you're actually forecasting and knowing where you can go and where the boundaries are. So big issue.
Moving on to, tied to quality of life, but public safety. Obviously, you've got a remarkable police department, and the Scottsdale firefighters do a tremendous job with the new ambulance service that they've got. And I know you've got some really wonderful professionals. I saw Casey Solom here and his team. Tell us a little bit about your view on public safety, and in particular, some of the initiatives that you may see coming through your office to help support that.
So we now have an acting assistant city manager who is the chief of police, Chief Walther, and I think he brings a lot of value and expertise to the organization, especially during this transition period that we're in so many ways. Scottsdale is, I should say, the city of Scottsdale, it's a huge transition point for us. We, not to deviate from your question, but city manager left just before I got elected, before we got elected. We've got a city auditor position that's been vacant and that we're searching for. There's assistant city manager transition now that Greg Caton moved up. So we are in a big transition period, and I'm so happy to report that from a staffing perspective, it's really going very, very smooth and very productive and effective. And so last week, I had the opportunity to attend the Public Safety Awards and Police Department awards and promotion ceremony, and that was fantastic. Our officers are, killing it. I don't want to say that, but they're crushing it. I guess they're crushing it. So I was so impressed. The dinner time bandits or burglaries, that was a case that they worked on. There was so many great stories about the lives they saved and really the danger they put themselves in. A big conversation for us, especially during the campaign and as elected officials, is what are we doing with street camping, people that are on the streets, and what are we doing about that? That's a very difficult issue to navigate. I'll be working with Representative Matt Gress to identify solutions to that are very very much benefit both the city, the residents, the business owners, and those in need. And so that's exciting. So public safety, like I said, number one. Well, fire and police, number one.
I can definitely see that, and I applaud. I saw Chief Walther is now Assistant City Manager. He doesn't have a uniform anymore on, so it's hard for me to recognize him in a crowd. But congratulations, Greg, in your effort, and congratulations, Chief. Once a chief, always a chief. Appreciate that. And you do strike a good point, and that is there is transition. And there's transition in all our businesses. There's transition in our municipalities. It's just part of the process. And clearly, you got a great new economic development leader with Terry Kilgore. Thank you for your partnership with the chamber. When you look at that engagement with these newer folks and how you're, and because I could tell when I see at the council meetings, you're showing great energy and enthusiasm. How are you helping integrate the customer service aspect from your office to the community through your staff?
Customer service is number one. So I loved what Dennis said. As a public servant, it's not about the love of power. It's about the power of love. And he had so many other quotes there that I was trying to track in my mind. But that really is the bottom line. It's not your government telling you what to do. It's about listening to residents and our citizens and voters in Scottsdale and business leaders. So resident inclusion, that's a big issue, along with business leaders and business owners. That's overarching, that's the umbrella within which decision, my viewpoint of leadership that's the lens through which I see it. And a couple of, from a mechanic's standpoint, getting citizens more involved in the process. I'm a big proponent, like we just did with the Budget Commission, and I told you how effective that was in 2008 to 12 of direct appointments, because to me, as your elected mayor, the people I select to be on a commission or a committee, it reflects on me. And literally, I had another council member voice concerns that it's better for the majority to pick the individual on a task force or a commission because we're in the majority. Well, that ebbs and flows, and I think that's not sound logic. And really what I think is then you know who to blame. If your transportation commission is not doing things that resonate with the residents, or if your budget commission, for example, is not effective, look to me to see who I appointed and see what the results are. It's about accountability and transparency, and really the relationship between an elected official and their appointee. I can't overstate how important I think that is. And it's policy being carried through at all levels of the city government. And volunteers are the ones that serve on our commissions, and that's really hard work. They're doing a great job. And I think having that relationship again and alignment with the person that appoints you, I think it's such a great recipe for success. So I hope my council members will join me in going down that path. And we're doing a trial run, obviously, with the Budget Commission, which again, I think is going to be very, very successful. More mechanically, looking at innovation, for example, we're discussing creating an app where there can be more of a direct line of communication, where you don't have to go on the website and submit your form or call the office and get through to somebody. That's a big advancement that I think we can take advantage of in due time. Again, I get back to streamlining the planning department and making that more user-friendly so that residents feel like their voice really matters and their concerns and their project, be it little or huge, really is important to the city, and we take that very seriously because that's money for them, right? And so all of that and much more about including residents and really valuing our residents and our business owners and leaders.
Well, clearly you and the council have some great work ahead, but I know your hearts and you're putting a lot of great effort towards that. I have a question sort of tied to your background in that you've served on council before, and then you were just elected as mayor. What are the biggest differences you're seeing from when you served your first on council to where you are now as our mayor?
So I think being mayor, there's a lot more visibility and interaction that is part of the job, and so that's a factual basis. But and I was just talking about this earlier today, this morning. One of the biggest differences is just the connection between what you're doing today and the story that comes out with an anonymous blogger at 5, and then there's a lot of great publications in our community and our state, but I get the impression a lot of those publications take their news from the anonymous blogs. So that's different. I don't recall that being the case, and that's an interesting dynamic. Just the rapid, real-time, rapid dissemination of information, whether it be true or false, right, is a big, big issue. And we see that not only at the city level, but at the state and, of course, the federal level. So it's a big thing. I think it's both good and bad. Having that real time, know what's going on. When I was on council, no one really honestly knew what was going on. Unless you were the 200 people that, cycled or circled at City Hall. So it's both a great thing, and you gotta be able to manage that and just accept it, right?
Well, I don't blog until about 5:30 or 6. So it's not my...
You're way behind, Mark. You're way behind. Get on it.
We're going to work on that. A couple things, and then we're going to have to wrap up for respect for your time and everyone here. I got a couple of personality questions that folks had been curious about. One is, are Are you going to throw out a pitch at spring training?
You missed it?
I missed it.
What?
But I saw the recap.
Okay.
Tell us about the impact of spring training on the city from your view and the connection that we have between, obviously, the community and the Giants. How does that play into the economic picture for you?
Huge. People come from around the country, and I talk to them all over, wherever I am. Oh, I come to Scottsdale for spring training. So getting people to Scottsdale Stadium is my focus, right? And as a proud member, longtime member with you as the of the Charros. You're a Charro, I'm on the foundation board. That's been a big part of my life for 6 years, and I'm thrilled about it. Investing, and we talked about this just yesterday, I think it was, investing in what other events we can do there, brainstorming, attracting more energy to the stadium on off-season time. So, but spring training, it's a buzz. And you missed my first pitch. I'm so glad. I made it all the way to home plate, and the catcher could barely catch it. So.
Yeah, let's hear for that. That's good.
I'm really glad you missed it.
So, couple other questions. You told us you have horses, that you like to ride horses. What are your horses' names?
Oh, my Valentine, because she has a heart on her butt, and she was born on Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Happy birthday to her.
True story.
Yep.
So, and unfortunately, one we lost not too long ago, and her name was Sexy Lexi, so there you go. There's a theme. There's a theme. But on the note of horses, so the Arabian Horse Show was just a smashing success. Talk about economic development. I'm glad you brought up horses, because I want to talk about other people's horses right now for just a minute. For the first time, the Arabian Horse Show, Scottsdale Show, biggest horse show in the world. Most well attended, just like the golf tournament. So it's a big economic driver for us. They fly in horses from literally around the world. But this year they launched, we were the first stop in the Americas of the, GCAT, the Global Champions Arabians Tour. They call it GCAT. It's really hard to remember for me. But and this is a international halter competition where people came in. It was just a beautiful event. They had the kickoff at Westworld. Just people from around the world there to compete, including many well-known breeders and competitors from Scottsdale. So prior to that, and prior to hearing about that, and thinking how important the equestrian community is to our city, I reached out to the Sister Cities organization. I said, what about Dubai or Qatar for our next sister city, right? And they were very receptive, but it was interesting. There were members of the royal family from Qatar in attendance at this event. And just, things like that in the equestrian world, that is a huge draw. I mean, we've got so many of these amazing events and reasons to come to Scottsdale. So continuing to grow and invest in those areas is really a big focus for me.
Well, there's a huge international audience, like you stated, and the Arabian Horse Show is definitely a gem. Barrett Jackson, the classic auction, is another one, and congratulations. I did see, I was watching some of the coverage, and I know you and Craig were up on the block, and you were talking to an international audience that was broadcast, and I heard you give great shout-outs to the business community in Scottsdale and welcoming people if they're interested coming to Scottsdale, so kudos to you being a spokesperson for that.
Of course. I think I said we're open for business. Yep. Come visit us. So, and in fact, that's absolutely true.
Well, I'm going to have to get us to the wind-up point because we got a couple more minutes, but I'd love for you to share any additional thoughts you might have, in particular for this audience, for the business community and these community leaders that are here that you'd like them to hear and know about and how they can help you.
Well, it's more about how I can help you, and I welcome your input, anything that's going on or going good, going bad, going wrong, whatever the case might be. Let us know because we are here to serve you. We've got a great, albeit interim, we've got a great team, and they are ready to serve. And in fact, I've seen that firsthand, just how service-oriented the staff in Scottsdale is, and under this leadership will even grow to become more so. And looking forward to advancements to make things easier, make the interaction easier at City Hall. And we want to work with you, and we are open for business. And I want to thank you all for being here, and especially Jack Miller. I didn't see him yet, but thank you for the hospitality, Jack. As much as I love all the resorts in Scottsdale, I think I've spent the most amount of time here because it's been my daughter's personal favorite for, since she was her first birthday, probably. So we're here to serve you. My door is always open. Please tell me what's on your mind, and I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you, and thank you very much for having me today.
Let's give a big hand to Mayor Lisa Borowsky from the city of Scottsdale.
Thank you.
Thank you.